let's start with our campaign trail, and let's get to understand what the Peace Council is doing, because we're in the political season. We have less than 4 months to December polls, and the concern now from a lot of people is about the comments some political party leaderships are making on the campaign trail and its ability to spark disagreement within party faithfuls. What's the Peace Council doing about this?
Thank you very much for having us this morning. First, I think it's important for us to understand the whole concept of electoral violence. The first thing is that electoral violence is actually intended to manipulate electoral processes. And it's a purposeful act to influence the processes and also the outcomes. So sometimes when we see what the political actors are displaying, some of these things are intentional and they are done to ensure that they can manipulate the process. Now, it runs through the whole political cycle from the time that the announcement is made for elections, from party primaries, from voter registration, election day, counting of ballot papers, post-election. All of these things are done specifically to manipulate the process. And it's important that the public understands these things and to determine what to do with these. Because if we don't, and we allow those processes to continue, it's likely to lead us into a much more serious situation. For us as a Peace Council, our preparation for this election began immediately after the last election. First, we went to constituencies where some people died. In all the 5 constituencies, we had dialogues there to help the people to heal, to understand what exactly happened there. And then out of that, we held a dialogue in Adam for 4 days involving all the political actors. Major players in the political field, the majority leader, minority leader, Minister of National Security, Interior, party leaders, CSOs, academia, civils, all of us were there to deliberate, and we agreed on certain things that ought to be done. Some assignments were given to the Peace Council. As I speak now, the Peace Council has executed everything that we were asked to do. Part of it was to ensure that the NDC returns to IPAC, which was done in December. We've had the hate speech document done. Guidelines on hate speech and intemperate language has been developed. It's been disseminated to the political parties, the media landscape. We've had dialogues between the police and the political parties, dialogue between all the security agencies and the political parties, civil society, Queen Mothers, GPRTU, all of them being there, so that the civilians could tell the police and security services what we feel about them, what the police and security services also feel about civilians. Specific dialogue between the police and the parties alone for them to sort out whatever differences they have. We've had dialogue with the women's wing, the youth wing, the communicators of the parties. When we realized that the tension wasn't coming down as was expected, we called another meeting of all the council of elders of all the parties to help us manage what is going on. All these things have been done to ensure that we don't run into a situation that can be disastrous for our country. And we have continued with other dialogues in some other communities, and we plan to do similar dialogues in all the 276 constituencies to ensure that we minimize the tension. But we must first understand that electoral violence is intended to manipulate the electoral processes, and people do them intentionally.